NFL training camps are in full swing, and with all 32 teams back on the field, there's no shortage of headlines making waves across the league. From star players holding out to veteran quarterbacks managing injuries, and of course, the never-ending contract saga in Dallas, there's already plenty to talk about before the first preseason snap. Let's take a look at the biggest storylines coming out of camp. In Washington, wide receiver Terry McLaurin is making noise, not on the field, but by not being there. McLaurin is officially holding out of training camp as he seeks a new contract extension. For the Commanders, it's a significant development. McLaurin has long been the team's most consistent offensive weapon, and his absence is certainly felt. However, quarterback Jayden Daniels doesn't seem too rattled. When asked about the situation, Daniels said, "If Terry were here, I'd be checking in with him regularly. That's just the bond we have, but this is the NFL. These things happen. It's just business." Daniels emphasized that the team isn't overly concerned and still views McLaurin as a brother and vital part of the locker room. But while Jayden Daniels may be calm, ESPN's Louis Riddick had a very different take. He stressed that every day McLaurin misses is a missed opportunity, especially for a second-year quarterback like Daniels. Riddick pointed out that while Daniels presents himself with veteran poise, he's still early in his development. Missing valuable reps with his top target could hinder his growth. Riddick went as far as to say Daniels has MVP potential, but to reach that level, he needs McLaurin on the field, building chemistry and developing timing in live reps. Despite the off-field contract tension, Daniels is already showing signs of progress. According to Commanders reporter John Kim, Daniels started 11-on-11 drills by dropping an over-the-shoulder dime to Deebo Samuel on a slot fade route. Cornerback Tyler Owens had tight coverage, but the throw was perfect. Just another reason the Commanders are excited about their young QB. Still, for this offense to reach its full potential, getting McLaurin back into the mix is essential. On the West Coast, another big-name veteran is making headlines, this time for health reasons. Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford, now 37 years old and entering his 17th NFL season, showed up to training camp with a sore back. Stafford had been seen golfing in Hawaii just weeks ago, but the team is being extra cautious as camp begins. Sources close to the Rams say Stafford is working on the side with trainers and will have a modified practice schedule early on. NFL insider Lindsay reported that while back injuries at Stafford's age are worth monitoring, the Rams insist there's no need for alarm. In fact, they say that if the regular season began tomorrow, Stafford would not be on the injury report and would be ready to play. Still, with his age and injury history, this is a storyline worth watching throughout the summer. Of course, no training camp story roundup would be complete without turning our attention to the Dallas Cowboys. This year's main event? The looming contract extension, or lack thereof, for Micah Parsons. The superstar pass rusher is entering the final year of his rookie deal, and while he's not holding out, he's made it clear he wants a new deal sooner rather than later. Parsons didn't hold back when speaking to the media, saying, "I see guys like TJ Watt, Max Crosby, and Myles Garrett all getting paid. I've still got 2 years left on my deal, but if the Cowboys don't want me here, I get it. I'll handle my business. But if this is the end, then so be it." Cowboys owner Jerry Jones, as always, had a colorful response. He downplayed the situation, saying, "Nothing new here. You sign guys, sometimes they get hurt. I've done it before. We paid Dak, and then he missed most of the season." Jones appeared unfazed, but many see this approach as more about business than football. ESPN's Louis Riddick didn't hold back, calling the situation dumb and unnecessary. Riddick criticized Jones for using past injuries, like Dak Prescott's, as a justification for delaying deals, particularly for a generational talent like Parsons. Injuries happen. That's football. But you don't stall on paying a guy like Micah Parsons. He's one of the most dominant defensive players in the game and should be the cornerstone of your franchise. Riddick wasn't alone in his frustration. Analysts pointed out that teams like the Philadelphia Eagles have shown how to handle these situations the right way. They draft well, identify elite talent early, and sign those players to extensions before their market value explodes. That strategy builds financial flexibility and fosters a winning culture. In contrast, Dallas has shown a tendency to wait, often paying more in the long run and creating avoidable tension along the way. What makes this situation even more complicated is the leverage Dallas currently holds. Parsons is playing on his fifth-year option, and the team can franchise tag him in each of the next 2 seasons. In essence, they control his rights for 3 more years. So any deal made now is almost certain to favor the team financially. That's why the contract hasn't been signed yet, and it's also why Parsons is speaking out. The new CBA limits players' ability to hold out, so Parsons is showing up to work while still making it clear he expects to get paid like the elite player he is. Lindsay, who is heading to Cowboys camp in Oxnard later this week, noted that this situation isn't unique for Dallas. This is what they do. It was the same story with Dak, then with CeeDee Lamb, and now with Micah. The Cowboys always create a bit of a circus during camp, but eventually the deals get done. She added that it's part of the brand. Jerry Jones embraces the media frenzy, the headlines, and the speculation. In his eyes, it's all part of keeping the Cowboys relevant year-round. Dan Orlovsky, however, offered a word of caution. He warned against assuming everything will work itself out. We say it every time, and so far Jerry has paid his stars. But what if this time he doesn't? What if they go into the season and Micah still hasn't been extended? Orlovsky explained that under the current collective bargaining agreement, players like Parsons don't have much leverage. Holding out would cost him big money, so his only real option is to keep playing and hope the team eventually pays him what he's worth. As training camp continues, the league is buzzing with optimism, contract talks, and big plays. Whether it's McLaurin holding out in Washington, Stafford managing his health in LA, or Micah Parsons applying subtle pressure in Dallas, one thing is clear. Football is back, and the stories are already writing themselves.